The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show.
Today is Tuesday. It is May 13th, 2022, and welcome to the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show. Thank you for joining us wherever you are joining us from, whether you're watching us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, or if you're watching us on Act TV, our partners, where they encourage you to do more than watch. They want you to act. Go to acttv.com/join to become a member. We're tracking this morning, late last evening. Welcome back. And again, welcome to the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show. It is May 3rd, 2022. We have been tracking since last night the announcement from the draft opinion coming from the Supreme Court with regards to Roe versus Wade. We are keeping our eye on that, and we're going to discuss that at great lengths today, starting with On the Clock with Georgia Ford. And we're going to be joined by Anoa Changa, a friend of the show and a longtime political activist and commentator, to discuss what this means. But as always on this morning, we begin rooted in Black history. So, hey, Google, what happened today in Black history?
On May 3, 1991, the infamous Los Angeles riots came to an end after 6 days. The unrest was triggered when George Holliday filmed an unarmed black man named Rodney King becoming a victim of police brutality. According to the Los Angeles police chief, Daryl Gates, 14 officers were involved. However, charges were brought against 4 officers for excessive use of force. When the jury acquitted the 4 officers, the verdict was met with outrage, especially by the Black community, and this led to riots in LA. Adapted from Black Heritage Day calendar by author, lecturer and civil rights activist Dr. Karl Mack.
And again, you can get access to 366 days of Black history from blackheritagedays.com. This is from Black Heritage Days 4. Dr. Mack is out. He is going to be out for some time. As we expected, he is neck deep in Black history, neck deep in Black women's history, as well as Black sports history. He is working on and finalizing, putting the finishing touches on Black Heritage Days 6. So he has been diligently laying out as much of our history. And here's why that's so important. Before we get to any of the international news or national news, I want to begin with why doing this from the lens of Blackness is so important. It's so important because as we look through what's happening in today's political landscape, we see how important Black voices are to everything that is going on, not just culturally, but also politically. We were the linchpin in Georgia last year, and rather 2 years ago in 2020. Black voters were the linchpin that helped seal the deal, particularly Black young voters. The demographics came out, and it was Black millennials who helped Joe Biden win the presidency. And so, yes, we root what we do in Black history because what we're doing in our Black present is so important. And what we have to continue to do is have a lens through the past to understand that what we're doing is not new. We are an extension of our ancestors. So please go to blackheritagedays.com and get whatever version that you don't have already of Black Heritage Days and support Dr. Karl Mack as he is bringing forth. And we have a lot of great things that are coming. I don't want to spoil any of the beans there, but I will just look forward to him coming back in June. We look forward to Dr. Mack coming back in June after he's had time to put the finishing touches on all of his projects. That said, I do want to circle back to just briefly touch on and get more details as it pertains to what is going on with Roe versus Wade. I do have to saddle this conversation with a lot of back knowledge and understanding that it has been the purpose of the conservative movement to undo Roe versus Wade since it was decided. It has been the intention of the Republican Party to do this. So this should not be seen as a surprise. This is something that they have been marching towards unapologetically for decades. And now with this released opinion, it is not a final decision. It is a draft opinion that came from the court, which in and of itself is something that has never happened before. But someone leaked this, and we'll get more information on that. I want to read from Politico. The Supreme Court has voted to strike down the landmark Roe versus Wade decision in an initial draft majority opinion written by Justice Samuel Alito, circulated inside the court and obtained by Politico. The draft opinion is full-throated, unflinching repudiation of the 1973 decision, which guaranteed federal constitution protections of abortion rights, and a subsequent 1992 decision, Planned Parenthood versus Casey, that largely maintained that right. We'll discuss this a bit more throughout this episode. Again, Georgia Ford is going to discuss it with us on the clock, and Rebecca Azor will be here to discuss it with us on Like It or Not, and Anoa Changa will be joining us to discuss it as well, because this is the crown jewel of a group that I think we need to clearly identify unapologetically. There is a faction in this country that has no other desire than to dominate American society through their religious dogma. They are theocratic fascists. And while they may, I know sometimes I get emails and say, Ben, stop using all the big words. I need you to understand that really precisely defines them. They are people who don't care about democracy because they believe that what they are doing in the name of Christ is more important than democracy. And if you ask them about their interpretation of Christ, they will most certainly consider me an infidel because I think Jesus was black. So if we're talking about a particular denomination, these are people who would most certainly crush every other version of Christianity that does not meet their standard. And they have financial power, economic power, they have political power, they own politicians. And here they are now getting their crown jewel opportunity to overturn Roe versus Wade. Why? Because they are concerned about life? No. If they were concerned about children being born, then they would address the underlying issues, the overwhelming underlying issues why people make that decision, while women have to make that decision. And oftentimes they are married couples. According to the Guttmacher Institute, a high percentage of people who obtain abortions are married couples doing so after they've already had children. And they're doing so because of an economic condition. And if any of these theocratic fascists who fancy themselves to be the vanguard of the Lord Jesus Christ actually gave a damn about children, then they would address all of the things in this system that kill us every single day. And all the reasons that people who are working 60 hours a week and only making $7.25 an hour have to make that choice that, no, I cannot afford to have another child. That's just my soapbox. There's a long fight ahead of us, but I want you to really understand that there is a political and economic social movement that should be labeled accurately. They are theocratic fascists. They are religious zealots. They are extremists in the order of Osama bin Laden, and they have the majority on the bench. Quote that. I want to move forward to what's happening in Russia. Majority of Americans, rather, support Russian sanctions. A large majority of American sanctions on Russia support it. This is according to a new Washington Post ABC News poll reported on May 2nd. It found widespread bipartisan support for U.S. sanctions imposed on Russia for the invasion of Ukraine. 73% of poll respondents think that the U.S. is doing the right amount to bolster Ukraine and that the U.S. is doing too little, or that the U.S. is doing too little. Only 14% of respondents think the U.S. is doing too much to help Ukraine against the invasion of Russian forces. 13% stated that they had no opinion. There is a faction in this country that no matter what is actually happening before their eyes, they will always still undermine this mission to help Ukraine because it indirectly supports the president that's in power. I mean, there's really no other way to cut it. The Republican Party has decided to abandon foreign policy, which here to this point politics has always ended at the borders of our country, and we spoke with a unified voice. Now, while the majority of Americans do see very clearly that we should be supporting Ukraine, 73% is very encouraging. There will always be a percentage who are not tuned in and always be a percentage who, no matter what the right thing to do is, they will be willing to do the wrong thing for for the expediency of their politics. I will be speaking later on in this episode with Professor Matt Sienkiewicz. He's a professor of media studies at Boston College, and we're going to be discussing the Russian foreign minister and his comments as it pertains to Zelensky, tying Nazism to Zelensky's Jewish heritage. We are going to discuss the really flagrant statements that were made in the broader context of everything that is happening. So I want you to make sure that you stay tuned in for that. So many things that are happening around the country. We want you to join the conversation. Join the conversation today by leaving comments. We will be bringing and replying and answering questions through the comment section. So if you have a minute, if you have a thought and you want to participate, or if you just want to join the conversation, leave us a question and we will do our best at certain points in the show to address it, as well as getting our phone lines up. We want to make this as interactive as possible because, as we have seen on many of our phone calls, some of the brightest conversations or thoughts that come from the show actually come from our supporters. In other international news, Poland moves to help Germany drop Russian oil. This is a very interesting story because of a lot of the complexities that are happening with regard to Russia. It's based on the fact that Europe, many countries in Europe, specifically Germany, is dependent on Russian oil. And Poland is stepping in to try to break that dependency on Russia. According to Reuters, reporting on yesterday, Poland's climate minister said that the country is prepared to help Germany decrease its dependence on Russian oil. Since many EU countries rely on Moscow for energy, the bloc can't seem to agree how to sanction or how sanctions should be implemented. Poland's climate minister said in a statement, as reported by Reuters, as Poland, we are ready to support Germany's ambitions to de-Russify their refineries. I am pausing because of the boldness of that phrase, that very specific phrase, the de-Russification of their refineries. This is a bold statement from Poland, from Poland's climate minister, but it really speaks to the underlying issue here. We do very clearly see on the international stage what Russia is doing to be a violation of everything that has been built post-World War II. Yet there are actors, namely Germany, on the international stage who find themselves unable to do everything that they can because of their dependence on Russian oil, which speaks to the underlying issue. Our nations have been pigeonholed and controlled by fossil fuels for so long that now we are engaged in yet something that could amount to be World War III. And at the core of it is the question of oil, Nord Stream 2. Behind almost every war that we have seen on the face of this planet has had roots in fossil fuels, in oil. And so for Poland to step in to offer this, it is a bold statement, particularly because of Poland's proximity to Russia and the fact that Poland has always had these tight friction with Russia post the fall of the USSR. So Poland is sticking its neck out here. But more importantly is the fact that globally, if we do not move away from our fossil fuels, and we'll be talking about it at great lengths and on the clock with Georgia Ford, there are just so many reports that are showing our negligence as a species, our negligence as a civilization, as a group of collective countries. Our negligence is leading us to destruction. And one of the main reasons is because we cannot get ourselves off of fossil fuels. And it's not only destroying our planet, which is the bottom line, it's also destroying the structure and the order that we have had in this world. Not perfect by any means. I'm one of the highest and biggest critics of this order. But we most certainly understand that what Vladimir Putin desires is something that is anathema to everything that we have stood for and believe in. And that moves us right directly into this last story before we take our first break. Experts are saying that forests could begin emitting carbon dioxide. Now, as we studied and we jumped into this story last night, the headline itself is pretty shocking and meant to be shocking. But because of the scale and the scope of wildfires across this country, the amount of carbon dioxide that is going to be put out by trees burning is a staggering amount that has to be noted. It's contributing. Instead of trees being able to remove carbon dioxide from our environment, we have had so many wildfires that now we have trees and the fire and the burning of those trees contributing to the disaster. I want to read directly from the report. Wildfires have become more common in Europe and North America specifically, and now experts are saying they could begin releasing large amounts of plant warming emissions. A recent study finds that wildfires in North America's boreal forests could release nearly 12 gigatons of carbon emissions in the next 3 decades. With experts saying carbon emissions from forests in the next 30 years will equate to the annual equivalent of 2.6 billion fossil fuel powered cars. The forests, also known as Tajai, are the world's largest, most intact biome, and its ecosystem makes up 1/3 of all forests on Earth. And we are at the stage of decline where those trees, those forests now, instead of doing what they are naturally designed to do because of our recklessness, because of our greed, we are now seeing the earth turn on itself because of our actions. And yet we're not at a place where we can get this 97% of consensus of scientists to be able to move our political leaders into action. When we have 97% of consensus from scientists as it pertains to global warming, climate change, but yet we cannot get a single administration to make the move towards climate justice and a green economy, it really speaks volumes to how quickly we are barreling towards destruction and just ignoring all the signs on the wall. Listen, we're going to take a quick break. It's a little bit earlier than usual. I want to take a reset. But when we come back, we're going to be discussing all of these stories. We'll be on the clock. We're going to go forward with the conversation on Roe versus Wade. While the decision is not final, it is a draft decision. I want to make sure that everyone understands that we should not be surprised by this. We have to make sure that we are ready to fight back on this. And one of the things that, before I even go to break, one of the things I want to make sure that we say about what's going on with this decision is that we need to draw the line and hold the line. We're beyond the point, because we have to understand that this is actually Roe versus Wade was decided upon based on the Fourth Amendment, privacy, the right for a woman to have that private decision to be made between herself and her doctor. It was an issue of privacy. And we have seen that this movement of theocratic fascists, they have no problem destroying the Constitution. They will be more than happy to rewrite the Constitution. And the alarming fact is that no matter how patient and how much we want to get back to normal, I know everybody wanted to go to brunch after Joe Biden got elected. Everybody just wanted to go back to normal. These fascists never stopped. In fact, they've never stopped working to overthrow the entirety of the 20th century since we got every victory we got. Was something that they added to their tally that they want to undermine. And Chief Justice Roberts was one of the first ones to do it with the decision that gutted the Voting Rights Act. And here we are with southern states all across the country, all around the Southeast, enacting policies and legislation that is absolutely meant to keep us from voting. So when I say they want to roll back the entirety of the 20th century, I don't just mean a woman's right to choose. I mean, they have already gone after our right to vote. And it is a part of the same cabal. They understand that Black people voting is their greatest threat. And they also understand that their greatest asset is having a Democratic Party who doesn't know what the hell is going on and who doesn't understand the score. Because at this point, anybody who wants to run for office needs to draw the line in the sand and say that they are willing to pack the courts, because we have the constitutional right to expand the courts. If you don't like the pack the court language, let's call it expand the courts, because we allowed, and unfortunately, the Republican Party through Donald Trump was able to stack the courts with activists, conservative extremists, all the way to the Supreme Court with the likes of Amy Coney Barrett, who I'm quite sure her entire reason for living was to get to the Supreme Court just so that she could be one of the deciding voices against Roe versus Wade. Now, we do know that this is still a draft opinion, but it is a draft opinion that is marked as the majority, which means that it is a very strong possibility that in the very near future, Roe versus Wade will no longer be the law of the land via Supreme Court decision. We'll discuss that at great lengths throughout the rest of this episode. We're going to go to a quick break. We'll be back with On the Clock with Georgia Ford. More of the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show right after this. Welcome back to the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show. We are on the clock. Georgia Fort is not with us this morning. She will be back with us tomorrow. Shout out to DJ Exclusive, who is in the background. Brother, I know you're there and we can hear you, but we can't see you today. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, Brother Ben. How about yourself?
I'm doing good, man. We're going to get you back. To the people in the audience, fear not. DJ Exclusive will be back on camera as soon as possible, but he is holding it down on the ones and twos. I want to thank you, brother. I want to shift gears to what is commonly known as May Day. We celebrate on the 1st of May, which is a celebration of labor rights and worker rights all across the globe. But I want to bring attention particularly to Georgia Fort's coverage of rallies and protesters who join in Minneapolis in support of May Day. Let's take a look at Sister Ford's coverage.
There is only one solution.
Workers lead the revolution.
May Day is a day of celebration and remembrance, a time when we celebrate the victories of the labor movement and when we remember the people who have struggled for those victories. It's also a day of community like all of you that are here. We reach out and create a space to uplift one another's voices so that the victories of the future are victories for all of us in the struggle and not just for a privileged few.
When people of color are under attack, what will we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When workers are under attack, what will we do?
Stand up, fight back.
What will we do?
Stand up, fight back.
Now, it's very easy for us to forget that the reason we have a 5-day work week is because of labor activists. The reason we have an 8-hour workday is because of labor activists. In fact, protests and strikes had to take place and lives were lost. It's sort of disconnected from us, almost over 100 years removed from the flashpoint of the labor movement. But the fact remains that we see worker rights being infringed upon every single day, specifically in this country. We're also tracking now Amazon making or no longer taking COVID-19 as a valid excuse for their workers to miss work. And we see this trend happening all across the country. It's not only that they are squeezing us simply for more work and more efficiency while not paying us for that additional efficiency. They're also saying that we have to work during this pandemic, and whether we get sick or not, it simply does not matter. All of those phenomenon that you are experiencing, and it's not just Amazon. It's all of these jobs now using the excuse that the CDC gave them to now pressure people to come back into these workplaces. And some who never left now can no longer even use it as a justification for taking sick days. We're getting more information on that as it pertains specifically to Amazon, but it's all a reflection on the fact that labor has been under attack since the beginning of this country, since the foundation of this country. But I digress on that detail. That's a conversation for another day. We have to keep in front of us the fact that we must be diligent and vigilant as labor. And I want to say it very clearly, like there is, how do I put it on? I said it on Facebook because I'm not doing much talking on Twitter anymore. If you have to wake up and go to work for a living, I don't care how much you make. If you have to go and use your physical labor to live, you're not actually a capitalist. You work for capitalists. And if we don't keep that perspective in mind, we can find ourselves at a point where this is going to sound dramatic, where child labor laws, do you not think we are dealing with monsters who are capable of using child labor again? I mean, let's really think about all of the things that they're rolling back when they're trying to roll back the entirety of the 20th century. Keep in mind, child labor was one of the victories. Stopping child labor was one of the victories of the 20th century. And I guarantee you that we're dealing with the cabal of fascists who have no problem whatsoever if they need to fill those vacancies at Walmart and McDonald's with people who are underage. Because if they're willing to attack every other right, why would we give them the benefit of the doubt on anything else? We are in the middle of a class war that has been waged on workers since time immemorial. This has been a nonstop war on labor. It never stopped. Every single day in this country, there are millions of people who give everything that they have, every bit of energy that they have to go work at these warehouses. The warehouse industry is booming, and they are taking 12 hours a day out of the lives of people working nonstop shifts back to back, day after day, coming out with no time to do anything else but to eat, sleep, and wake up and do it again. And those people are considered lazy by the rich elite who sit atop of cosmopolitan Manhattan skyscrapers, looking down at the workers, saying that they just need to work a little bit harder to climb that economic ladder. Let's not be mistaken. This is not a new phenomenon. This has been a true phenomenon throughout American history. And so as we commemorate and celebrate May Day, I think people need to keep in mind that those rights that were earned are consistently and regularly under attack. I do want to shift gears one more time to Washington, D.C. and discuss the White House plan to push $3 billion in electric vehicle battery production. This is one bright spot amidst of all the very environmental news that we have been getting lately. CNBC is reporting that on May 2nd, the Biden administration said it will give $3.1 billion in aid to production of electric vehicle batteries in America. The funds are part of the $555 billion bipartisan infrastructure law. NBC News reports that administration officials have cited surging gas prices amid Russia's invasion of Ukraine as a visible reason to begin shifting toward electric vehicles. The director of the National Economic Council said in a statement, "We've seen just in recent days Putin trying to use Russia's energy supply as a weapon against other nations. And that underscores why it's so important that we in the United States reinvest and re-underwrite our own energy security." Gina McCarthy, the National Climate Advisor, said the following, quote, "We need a lot of batteries, and we want American workers making those batteries right here in America." This is a good move. We should, by all means, the conversation never ends. What we need to do. We know what we need to do as it pertains to this environment. We've known for some time. This is the right step in the right direction. It does bug me, though. Absolutely rubs me the wrong way to think that this is somehow tied to war itself, that the impetus behind this is, and while we salute and support and stand behind Ukraine, this is something that we should have been doing before Ukraine. This is something that we need to continue doing after Ukraine, because we have a tendency in this country to pour money into situations, into war. And as soon as that war is over, we turn our heads and leave it completely unfunded. So, yes, this is great news, and we need to celebrate it as such. But we need more, number one, and we need to make sure that this is not solely tied to conflict, because America will spend any number of dollars on war and won't give a dime for everything else that we need. California runs almost 100% on renewable electricity. For the first time ever, renewable electricity met nearly 100% of California's demand, with much of the energy coming from a large amount of solar power produced along the Interstate 10, an hour east of Coachella Valley. Ana Gonzalez, a spokeswoman for California Independent System Operator, a nonprofit that oversees the state bulk electric power system and transmission lines, told reporters that solar power provided 2/3 of the amount needed, reaching 99.87% of load served by all renewables, which broke the previous record. The executive director of Environment California said the organization and others have worked for 20 years to put the Golden State to completely renewable power via a series of ever tougher mandates. Again, more good news on this front. And we need to make sure that this is replicated across the country. And we need to also bring attention to, there's a petition drive that is being pushed by ACT TV with the United States Postal Service. We want to make sure that we bring attention to this administration, Louis DeJoy attempting to spend billions of dollars on new vehicles that are diesel instead of moving us. And these vehicles, the post office vehicles, will be used for decades. And so now Louis DeJoy is trying to pump billions of dollars into vehicles that are going to lock a vast majority of our country's distribution network into fossil fuels, when we could be moving towards renewable energy and electric vehicles. The opportunity is clearly there for them, but they are not taking it. And that speaks volumes as to how far we have to go. What is happening in California is amazing. It is record breaking. It is groundbreaking, but we are so far removed from where we actually need to be. So we have to absolutely keep our eye on that. Coming up at 9:15, I will be speaking with Professor Matt Sienkiewicz about his new book, along with what's going on in Russia and Ukraine. The Russia foreign minister making statements about Volodymyr Zelensky, referencing him to be analogous to Hitler. Despite his Jewish heritage, and the comments that the foreign ministers made were quite repulsive. We'll be speaking with Professor Matt Sienkiewicz about that at 9:15, and at 9:30, we'll be speaking with Anoa Changa about this alarming news coming out of the Supreme Court. A draft decision, a draft opinion was leaked, which is in and of itself unheard of, unprecedented, a leak of a draft opinion. So the opinion is not final. However, the opinion shows a majority of the Supreme Court deciding to unequivocally overturn Roe versus Wade, which has been the crown jewel of the theocratic fascists, the movement in this country that absolutely wants to dominate based on their very specific view of religion and their very specific view of morality and their very specific view of Christ. They want to dominate this system, and this was one of their plans for a very long time. So we're going to discuss the political implications and what it means for women, what it means for women all across this country, as well as what it means for organizing, because something like this does not happen overnight. This plan has been meticulously executed by the right wing in this country, and they are now within, clinching distance of getting their victory. But it doesn't mean that it has to be a final victory. So we're going to talk about how do we organize? How do we organize and what has to be done? What are the very specific steps to undo this? Because while a lot of people are upset this morning, and I was very upset last night. I mean, I actually reinstalled Twitter just to rant about it because it's so disturbing that we are at this stage now. But here we are. We can't just be upset about what happened. We have to absolutely be prepared to fight back. And so we're going to discuss organizing and what do we need from our political leaders? Because here's one final note, because I'm going to take another break. It's going to be a break heavy day today. It's just one of those mornings. The real deal is that if we do not get rid of the filibuster, and if we don't get politicians who are willing to pack and stack and expand the court, then we're going to be dealing with decisions like this for the rest of our lives. When Ruth Bader Ginsburg decided not to retire, and then ultimately she died, giving that pick to Donald Trump. The rest was history. That was the flashpoint. When the balance of power went to the conservative side and that seat was given to Amy Coney Barrett, of all people, we knew that this was going to be the result. I also know that they're not going to stop with a woman's right to choose. They're not going to stop until their worldview, their aspirations. I mean, if I could summarize it before I go to break, they don't want anybody to be LGBTQ except for those that are closetly LGBTQ in their own circles. All those pastors who preach against it. They're anti-LGBTQ until they cut off their cameras. But they want to outlaw anybody's sexual preference that they don't approve of. They want to outlaw our right to vote if our right to vote ever threatens their power. They were willing to overthrow this democracy on January 6th, and they're still trying to do so. That's just the surface of it. The economic parts of it, we already know that they want to continue to exploit our labor. They want to continue to keep us working for $7.25 an hour when we know sure as hell that our work, we are working at efficiencies of at least $22 an hour. If workers were paid how efficiently they work, they would be making nearly $22 to $25 an hour. But they have successfully kept us at $7.25 at a federal minimum wage. And they want that to continue. And they want us to call us the N-word without getting canceled. I mean, it really is a cabal of people who are both ambitious through their desire to dominate society, as well as ridiculous in how fatuously ignorant they are. Those are the people who have power. Those are the people who are behind this Roe versus Wade decision. Those are the people who have no compunction about rewriting the Constitution. They have made it clear the Constitution is an impediment to their victory. Therefore, that's the next thing that they're going to try to overthrow. Sorry, Dr. Mack, I know you get tired of my right-wing right-wing conspiracies, but as the longer I live, my conspiracies seem to be adding up. These people are going for the kill. They're not playing games with us Democrats. And so my last thing is to ask the Democrats, are you ready to fight them? Because if you're not ready to fight them, then you sure as hell need to get out the way, because they are not only talking about getting victory in Washington, D.C. They want to change the entirety of this country, which means they want to change the entirety of how my family works and how my neighborhood works. And so we need people who are going to go to Washington, D.C. and into all these state capitals and chase these traitors out. Because the very last thing that's standing in their way is not just Black people, it is the Constitution. And I guarantee you they'll overthrow that to get power. We'll be back with more of the morning show. We're coming in, we're going out, but we're going to keep these stories ahead of us because there are so many critical issues. And then maybe we get DJ Exclusive in here to lighten the load, to give us a dad joke or something. Otherwise, I'm going to call for a full-on. Anyway, take us to break, Dwayne. We'll be back with more of the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show. I told y'all don't leave me here by myself. We get kind of revolutionary when I'm on the screen by myself. We'll be back after this.
Push up and butter me. Push that, shake that, smack that, taste that, marinate that. We don't need a recipe. With that cream, baby.
All right, y'all. Make sure that you stay tuned. We got more coming up next on the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show. Y'all stay tuned. DJ Exclusive is in the building.
When we hook up, just you and me. With that cream, with that cream.
Hey, here I am. There I go at all my 720p glory. Actually, don't look too bad. Okay, cool. Delayed as hell, but hey, here I am. I feel like I'm really on somebody's TV show this morning. All right, welcome back to The Price is Right. I am Bob Barker. No. We don't need a recipe.
With that cream, baby, pour that sweet on.
Big Peace, good morning to you, Six Dragon Daddy. Man, if y'all missed karaoke night on Friday, you missed the damn good one. It was pretty good. It was pretty good. It was pretty good. It was a lot of fun. Six Dragon Daddy, yes, 720p. Amber Layla, good morning. Jason Goodcroft, good morning to you. Melanie Dennis, good morning.
And that's sweet on me. We can cook up, we can stir up, when we hook up, just you and me with that cream. Pour that sweet on me, baby. Say down, just take it. Cook up, we can stir up, when we hook up, just you and me.
Alicia, good morning. Al Booker, what's going on? Good morning to you. Brandy Edie, good morning. One ATL Country Boy, good morning to you, Alicia. Just Hearts in my city, good morning. Y'all make sure that y'all stay tuned. We got more coming up next. Busy Dixie Morning Show, like it or not, starting up momentarily. Ross Banana, right? Love Life, good morning. This is Looking For by Undecided. Yes, it is. Well, here's one for you. Wife, I'm pregnant. Dad, I'm pregnant. I'm dad. Wife, no, you're not. My wallet is like an onion. When I open it, it makes me cry. Hell yeah. And 10 years ago today, I asked my childhood sweetheart, my best friend, and the most beautiful woman in the world to marry me. All three said no. Dwayne, what do you call a knight who is afraid to fight? What do you call a knight who is afraid to fight? Surrender. Here's one for English heads and scholars out there. What do you call it when you mix alcohol in American literature? Tequila Mockingbird.
9 a.m. to 10:30, yeah. Like it or not is on your channel, yeah. Politics and culture is we change skin like we're supposed to, yeah. Interviews and all the news we get to choose.
Carly Wynn, good morning to you.
With Queen Azora, it's starting now, so stick around.
Moon me. Myla, good morning. Oh man, if you were not at the Patriot Party, you missed the Like It or Not sing-along. We were just sing, and then next thing you know, the whole damn patron party starts singing the song. The whole song.
Good story for you. Oh, Benjamin, that's my dog. This is his show. He's a politics pro. I am your DJ. DJ exclusive. Y'all know who I am.
Snack about the right. The whole 20 minutes.
Like it or not, it's going down. Like it or not, y'all stick around. Oh, like it or not.
My wife took off her shirt and bra during an argument where I was winning.
Like it or not.
It was a booby trap.
Like It or Not with Benjamin Dixon starts now.
It's a booby trap. That's what I said. It's a booby trap. Dr. Jones. That was my favorite movie. Goonies and then whatchamacallit.
Oh, man. Oh, I didn't realize what you were referencing. I missed the reference. Goonies is like dead ass.
It's a booby trap.
Guys. I forgot where we were. That's my favorite movie, James. That's the only movie I like more than Goonies. Well, I've already started the sentence. I have to say it now. It's Mean Girls.
Why is Mean Girls like the top of the list for everybody? Like, honestly, it's probably one of mine too. And then it's funny because while RuPaul's Drag Race, the season was going on, they play Mean Girls every time before RuPaul's Drag Race comes on. They play Mean Girls every Friday at the same time.
Bro, when she got hit by the bus, Mean Girls was like, and that's how Gretchen Wiener died.
That's how Gretchen Wiener died.
You don't forget stuff like that. Good morning and welcome to Like It or Not. James, you look like you're stuck in the 60s, man. Thank you for time traveling and joining us.
Yeah,
it's
taking it way back to 2010.
Oh man, no, you took it back 15. To GeoCities, bro.
Damn.
Nah, you're not. But listen, I appreciate it. Please keep that camera on because if you leave me on camera by myself, I would call for a full-on revolution with all these crazy fools that are running this country into the ground. That said, Rebecca Zor is going to join us momentarily. James, you mentioned the karaoke party. I'm not going to lie, man. I had a good time. I stayed up as long as I could. I think I was about to 12:30. I didn't know we had so many people who can sing. Like we had fun, but there were some real singers there.
Some singers, and then we had some metalheads as well too. Let's not forget our rock out crew.
Man, hey, shout out to Cam and Lee rocked. Oh my goodness! Like you wouldn't know if you were at a family reunion or a mosh pit when you come to one of our patron parties because we got range. We go from Queen down to the Queen Bee. Like it doesn't matter. We cover all of it. But shout out to everyone.
And if y'all missed my the performance of Rebecca as Billy Ray Cyrus, y'all missed that.
Oh man,
Ben, you didn't see it?
I did miss that. That must have been one of the moments I stepped away from the computer for a minute.
That's be missing all the good stuff. Everybody will tell you it was freaking hilarious. I think David recorded it though, so
yeah. No, he recorded all of us sounding like I sang too. I told y'all I was going to sing. I didn't get a chance to rap, so I didn't fully embarrass myself, but I am fully committed to the total embarrassment of my brand in order for us to have fun in these extremely dark times. So Patreon, actually go to ActTV/join. We want to make sure that everyone is partnering with our partners, ActTV. Check them out over there. But at our next patron party, James, can we do it again? Can we, or do we need to put some space? Should we do it next month or what's the plan?
Definitely we need another one this month because it was extremely fun. Maybe middle of the month. I think we can do that.
Okay. All right. So then we're going to do part 2.
It definitely needs to happen.
I think there's going to be even more people. Yeah.
No, and this time, David will post to the right Patreon. and have everybody there ahead of time instead. Love you, David. You're not here to defend yourself.
Yeah.
So.
Well, turnabout is fair play. We're working that white boy pretty hard around here. And so he's taking a couple of days off. Like we work that man to the bones around here at the Benjamin Dixon Show. Shout out to David, who's on vacation this week. He needs it because we wear that boy out. But thanks to him, and we'll be together for the patron party in about 2 weeks. The next karaoke party. Bring your best singing voices and your best rapping voices and your best metal voices, because we got range. James, I want to talk about a couple cultural stories before we get back. We have a lot of serious news that we're covering, but I think this might be the only minute we get a chance to talk about Megan Thee Stallion getting some awards and recognitions, and simultaneously on the same day finding out that Tory Lanez got arrested at the airport for trying to take weed on a plane. Now, listen. I want to start with that one because I'm pro marijuana. I'm pro THC. Like, legalize it. I'm not going to jump on him like a lot of people like, ooh, he shouldn't have had weed. I don't know about that part. He just shouldn't have had weed at the airport. Like, we're not there yet, folks. Like, don't get too casual with this marijuana because, like, you will still get caught up. You will still get arrested. And it doesn't help that Tory Lanez is on the opposite side of what's happening with Megan Thee Stallion, with everything we've been talking about the last couple of weeks. So a lot of folks are looking at him saying good for him. Like, dummies do what dummies do.
Hey, but hold on. You know what's crazy? Is I bet you, I'm willing to bet a lot of money that his fine or whatever he's going to get is going to be more than Mr. Cawthorn with the gun at the airport.
Look, see, man,
that's my dog right there.
That's why I don't even talk no more. That's why I don't even have to talk. People be like, Ben, you need to do this, do that. No. Listen to the folks around me. That's it. I didn't even think about that, Dwayne.
Yeah, most definitely. And I mean, what airport was that? I didn't even hear this because I stopped listening to anything Tory Lanez is involved in. What airport was he at? I mean, other part, why would you try to take weed on the plane with you and not go ahead and get it wherever the hell you're going to?
Man, I don't have the airport with me. I'll get more information on it, but it was. Now, listen, the reason I picked that story was because, he's involved with what happened to Megan Thee Stallion. I know I stand Megan Thee Stallion, who yesterday was honored with her own day, and a key to the city of Houston over the weekend, rather. Houston Mayor Sylvester Turner gave the rapper a key to the city and named May 2nd Megan Thee Stallion Day. Mayor Turner said in a statement, Megan Thee Stallion has an extraordinary entertainment career, but we wanted to honor her for what she does off stage to lift people's lives in undeserved communities. She assisted people after the 2021 winter storms. When Ted Cruz went to Cancun, Megan Thee Stallion was helping people in Texas. She also returned home last December to attend her graduation from Texas Southern University. She received her bachelor's degree in health administration, telling Rolling Stone the following, the quote, "I kept my mom and grandmother at the back of my mind. Before they passed away, they saw me going to college and they were really hard on me about finishing college. So I was like, you know what? I'm not just going to do it for myself. I'm doing it for them too. And I want them to be so proud." So shout out to the one and only Megan. I hope she sees this. I'm not, that's all. Right. Good morning and changing the subject. But no, man, that's dope because she actually, I didn't realize that she was in there helping the weather storm victims while Rafael Ted Theodore Cruz, a sitting senator, carried his old Eddie Monster looking ass to Cancun to vacation. Her and Beyonce, said,
they were doing the damn thing.
I didn't even know that, man. See?
Yeah. See, you have a lot, and that's why I say a lot of these, a lot of the artists and everything in their city, they stand up for them. Beyonce I know does a lot, and Meg I know does a lot as well too. So they real stand up people. Hell, Paul Wall, all the Houston rappers and everything, they do a lot for their city. I will say that. A lot of the Houston rappers and artists that come out of Houston, they do a damn good bit for Houston because they know you got people like Ted Cruz ain't going to do nothing at all.
Ted Cruz is going to take y'all money. You know what? Megan Thee Stallion for senator. How about that? Megan, listen, let me tell you something. Megan Thee Stallion manages to have a platinum Grammy award-winning career with knees able to twerk like the best athlete in the country while getting her degree all at the same time. She's more qualified than Ted Cruz, while she was also helping the citizens of Houston. I think she should be senator, not Ted Cruz. So maybe we'll talk to her and get her on that bandwagon.
Somebody said in the chat, we don't need any more celebrities in office. Hell, we don't need any more of the people that's in office because clearly they ain't doing the shit they supposed to be doing. I would rather have a celebrity instead of this. Hell.
Come on. Listen, whoever that was, don't do that. Y'all, we try to go professional, but we still ignorant as hell. Don't. Anyway, I'm joking. Y'all can say what you want to in the comment section. That's why I'm not there reading it. Bless you, James.
Hey, and so anyway. Meg too at the Met Gala last night. Met Gala, she looked damn good in her dress. She really did.
I didn't see it, but I will go and support. I would go support her ministry and find out about it as soon as the show is over. Coming to the stage, the one and only Rebecca Azor. Queen.
Rebecca.
Hey, good morning.
I'm fuzzy like my face.
It's okay because I was like, at least you found a way to get on this morning.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Good morning. In a few minutes, we are going to be joined by Professor Matt Sienkiewicz to discuss his book as well as a couple of things we were discussing as it pertains to Russia. But we're also going to be joined by Anoa Changa in about 15 minutes at 9:30 to discuss what's going on with the Supreme Court. Rebecca, I know you've been following it. Do you have any thoughts before we jump to this first interview?
No, I mean, before we get into the hot stuff, let's get into some cool stuff. Let's get into some fun stuff. So over the weekend, I was out here in the streets, but I know you guys did, what is it called? Karaoke. And I wanted to know how that went over this weekend. I know that our audience participated in it. I want to know who sang. Did we get any voices during the weekend? Did we have any shining stars?
So shout out to Kareem Ransom. Kareem was doing her damn thing. She sung twice. Kareem did her damn thing. Bryce, classmate. I can't remember what Bryce's name is.
That boy sang
in the chat, but Bryce, that boy can sing.
Okay, Bryce. Okay, and I missed that. See, I wanted to know who was accounted for that evening. I know I wasn't there, but I know that, I wanted to know who was singing, because we can't really get a feel for the singers in the audience while we're on air. But, you guys got a chance to chop it up with them, actually, just talk to them and let them bless you guys with their voices or non-voices. But I believe that, karaoke always brings people together. It's almost a competitive thing for the singers, though. Those who can sing. You got booed, Ben?
I got booed by Bryce. And then I thought, it's all fun and games because we just having fun. Can't nobody say I was singing never too much. And so Bryce started booing me and I'm like, oh, it's fun and games. And then he came around and actually sounded like Luther. I'm like, no, wait a minute.
It gets competitive.
It's not fun and games anymore. I take that personally, Bryce.
Yeah. It gets, you see, it gets competitive. It's like when you can sing, when the person goes up for karaoke, they just messing up the song. Some of them be trying to fake sing too and then be and then be messing up the song. And then now you got to come up there and be like, this is how you do Patty. And then, start doing Patty. So.
Okay.
Oh, my God.
I'm excited. I'm happy that you guys did that. Maybe we can do it again and I will be there. So.
Not this week, next week. I say next week.
My birthday's next week. I won't be here.
God, that's right. It is her birthday. She did tell us.
It is her birthday.
But it's just so apropos that she can't even make the next one either. So, what about the first one of the next month? What about the top of June? What about my birthday? Let's do a karaoke night for my birthday. It's the first June 5th, whatever day that is. Is that a Friday by any chance? I don't know, but whatever. We'll do something around the first of the month.
I like that.
Your birthday's on June 10th, right? June 10th.
I need the world. I definitely 5th, Rebecca. I need the world to know the right date.
5th.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm making up numbers. It's the 5th. It is the 5th.
Thing is,
send,
just say like, June
gifts.
10th. Yeah, June 10th.
Yeah,
Like, wait a minute.
I was like, I'm just gonna go ahead and say something else. But
that's not what I said.
I was thinking about my own. Mine is on the 15th. For all those who are wondering, if you guys do, want to know, it's on the 15th. 1-5. I'll be 32.
Was that Dwayne?
This should be 33.
No, 32.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, listen, in about, 60, 90 seconds or 2 minutes, we're going to be speaking with Professor Matt Sienkiewicz about what's going on in Israel, with the prime minister of, I'm getting it all wrong. And that's not the prime minister. It's the foreign minister of Russia, as it pertains to Ukraine and Jewish heritage. We're going to talk about that. And then, Rebecca, I'm going to get out of your way with that interview, because right at 9:30, we have Anoa Changa coming to discuss what's going on with the Supreme Court, what happened overnight. And I know you set that up. And so we'll make sure that we get out of your way for that. So it's a full show this morning. But that's what we're here for.
It definitely is.
I've learned to allow silence.
Right there, Ben, because you just said that you were going to have a
see if you're paying attention, see if you're going to jump in and save us.
I was like, what's happening? I'm waiting for the interview to come up. That's what you tease. And
because I thought maybe he would be here by now, but he's not. Where are you, Matt? Matt is a longtime friend of the show. When you see him, you're going to remember him. He's been on so many episodes before. Now we got him. There he is. Coming to the stage. James, you got to get that out of my vernacular. I cannot introduce professors like we're at Players Club.
Like they're strippers coming to the stage.
When he did it with Rebecca, I'm like, coming to the stage.
But I did warn him. I said, Professor Sienkiewicz, this is a foreign. I said, Professor. God, I can't stand you.
Take it.
Listen.
No, I follow now. Okay. New plan, but that's fine. I can do that.
Okay, good. Improvise, Matt. Improvise.
Professor, I did warn you. I said, this is a foreign policy discussion, but I know your schedule said you had to be here at 9:15. I said, well, we're in rare form by 9:15, Doc. I don't know how professionally we could discuss this, but we can start with your book. Let's talk about your book first, which I think is a good segue into conversation. And the title of it again is That's Not Funny. I don't have it in front of me. We do have a graphic. Dwayne, if you want to pull it up on the screen for us.
Yeah, I've got a new book. It comes out today. It's called "That's Not Funny: How the Right Makes Comedy Work for Them." It's, to be clear, it's from a left perspective. So I've got a co-author, Nick Marks, professor over at Colorado State, and we spent a couple of years watching right-wing comedy, watching the stuff that people on the right are doing. Again, it's called "That's Not Funny." I'm not trying to tell you it's funny, but we make an argument that comedy on the right is a powerful way that it galvanizes people in that part of the spectrum, that it's something that you should know about. You probably have heard of some of the figures we write about in the book, but you might not know some others. And we make an argument again. We're not trying to tell you to be amused by it. We're trying to say that this is actually a part of contemporary politics that often goes unnoticed. That comes out today. It's available Amazon. That's from the University of California Press. If you don't want to use the big bad Amazon. It's available. Yeah.
Oh, no, man. Congratulations. I didn't realize that today was the release day. I'm so glad that we got you here this morning. So I was lucky and read your first book and we discussed it. So I'm excited to see you just continue to do what you do. Name a couple of the figures that you researched and you had to listen to their quote unquote comedy, because I've yet to find any Republican that's funny.
Yeah, again, and to be clear, there are people, look, we looked at such a range of people that there are moments here and there, but the overall sort of trend is not something that we're going to try to convince you that it's, we're not making a sort of taste judgment here. We're talking about politics, right? So we start with Greg Gutfeld, who I imagine is getting more familiar to people. Greg Gutfeld has been on Fox News for a long time. And, he started off at this sort of weird kind of overnight show called Red Eye, and he's gotten bigger and bigger. He now has what is often the highest rated late night comedy show. He beats Colbert with some regularity. So we talk about Fox News. Yeah, for sure.
Wait a minute. I don't mean to interrupt what you're going on, but Greg Gutfeld, who has the most cringe-worthy comedy in the face in America, is beating Colbert on some nights.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's been beating The Daily Show for a long time. He beats Kimmel. There's different, if you really want to squint at it, you can say, well, what about online viewership? We're just talking about on cable. You can definitely say that Gutfeld is the only person who goes for that right-wing audience, right? So everybody else is like dividing it up and he's going for just one thing on his own. But yeah, he gets his numbers are at the top of the ratings when it comes to late night comedy. And again, that's not a statement about quality. That's a statement of just empirical fact. That's people watch it. So we talk about how Fox News, like for way back when they tried to do comedy, it flopped entirely. Now, again, whether you like it or not, they use it successfully. They use it to invigorate and get, it's still an old audience over at Fox News, clearly, but a little bit less old, perhaps, a little bit less sort of geriatric feeling. So we talk about Greg Gutfeld and Jesse Waters, who's also a character who I get nothing nice to say about, except that he is there to be a comic figure on Fox News. We talk about other figures who are a little more complicated politically. So we talk about Joe Rogan, and we note that Joe Rogan's personal politics are very tricky, but he certainly serves as a platform for a lot of people on the right, in addition to the left, but on the right as well. We talk about the world of libertarian comedy, which, sometimes is, can be not quite as offensive. And then there's shows like the Legion of Skanks, which is, sort of it's phrased in terms of free speech, but the free speech they use is to, use racist slurs and misogynist terms and all that sort of thing.
I'm upset with myself that the title made me chuckle, but that was the point of the title, right?
That's the point.
I was on mute. I started laughing.
I did too.
That's the point. We talk about the Babylon Bee. You might be familiar with the Babylon Bee. It's sort of,
I hate them.
Yeah, that's fine. Again, I'm not here to tell you to like any of it. Yeah. So it's like the Onion. It actually started. I'd be interested another longer maybe.
I just wish they were. I hate them because they suck. I hate them because they don't have quality work. Like the title. What was it? The Legion of Skanks. Like that's creative. I've yet to find anything from Babylon Bee that even makes me chuckle. But you're going to tell me now that they're pretty successful.
I'll tell you that they do pretty well. You don't see it, right? You know how this works in the world of like your social media feed is curated by yourself, but also by algorithms. We have a chapter that talks about, I'm sure you'll love all these characters, Ben. You're going to enjoy this hat trick of three people or three groups. It's Babylon Bee. We talk about Ben Shapiro, and we talk about Steven Crowder, who's the change my mind guy, like the guy who goes to campus. And we make.
He's the one I told on Christmas Day. He went on Facebook on Christmas Day and was like how much he loves the Lord Jesus. I'm like, dude, Jesus doesn't even like you. He's such an evil person that he doesn't. I'm sorry.
Right.
I have. He doesn't like Jesus has to love him, but he doesn't have to like him, is what I was telling him. But you're naming some of the worst figures, and I'm being triggered because you're telling me they're all successful. Go ahead.
Definitely. They are successful. They are successful. They are powerful in their worlds, right? Again, they're not going to convince you of anything. And you might be interested in that chapter, particularly, Ben. The connection we make there is that so Crowder, Shapiro, and the Babylon Bee, they have a sort of religious background to them and a religious backdrop, but then they also have like a debate club thing that they try to do. It's sort of the worst of both worlds, right? They take kind of the parts of religion that you might find, to be exploitative or objectionable, and then kind of the sophistry, the debate club try to trick you and convince you that they're right. And it's supposed to be jokes too, right? That's how Crowder works. Again, you probably don't, if you've seen his Change My Minds, you probably don't personally find them funny, but he's doing crowd work. He is trying to get the crowd laughing in order to convince people towards his ridiculous, generally offensive positions. But it's what he's doing. And then just to finish off the sort of where we go, we also talk about the sort of far edge. And it'll actually bring us into our discussion here, Ben. So we talk about right-wing trolls, Holocaust deniers, guys like Nick Fuentes, this totally horrible thing. It's the show called The Daily Shoah, which is a Nazi podcast. Shoah is the Hebrew term for the Holocaust. So haha, right? But people listen. And an argument we make is that these connect together in ways that, nobody wants to admit over there, but you can get from these more mainstream people to the real extremes, including stuff like the Daily Show,
Nick Fuentes.
Just a few clicks, right? They work together.
It's amazing how you can go from Greg Gutfeld all the way down to Nick Fuentes and the pure, unadulterated Nazism that exists in this country with just maybe 3 clicks. And that's sobering.
That's right. And
listen, I have I want to see if we can do a critical international relations analysis in about 3 minutes. I reached out to you to discuss, Sergei Lavrov using particular language about Volodymyr Zelensky, referring to him as, in a way, like Hitler, and then when questioned as a Nazi, and then when questioned about it, he uses some excuse about Hitler having some Jewish heritage. There's a lot to unpack on there. We don't have a lot of time. Would you let me know your thoughts on it and how it fits into the broader scheme of our geopolitics?
Yeah, well, first, that's boss level anti-Semitism, right? That is like taking it to the greatest extreme, right? So first thing needs to be said, even though I don't even know if it ought to even be acknowledged, right? This is not true. This notion that Hitler is Jewish is a anti-Semitic conspiracy to say, oh, the Jews did this to themselves. And just to be clear, this is a tactic that hateful people do in towards all sorts of groups. And I don't want to give examples, but you can find everywhere if a group is victimized or sort of assaulted, they did it to themselves. They deserve it in some way. And the ultimate way to do that in the context of anti-Semitism is to say, Hitler himself was Jewish, right? Which is not, you can read whether it's a German historian, whoever, there's nothing to this. It is not true. It is a way to take Zelensky and try to package him in something that obviously doesn't fit, right? For the Russians, somewhat understandably, right? They have a history of using Nazism as their ultimate enemy, right? Because of World War II, right? So anybody who is anti-Russian, at least they're going to see if they can take that path and say they have some connection to Nazism. Zelensky does not fit that box, right? Zelensky is not in any way a Nazi, but also he's Jewish. And so the only way to square that circle, which is unsquareable, is to lie about Zelensky and to lie about Hitler in this case. And what really could be worse?
You know what? I can actually say a whole lot less because you've hit the critical points there, Professor Sienkiewicz. And we haven't had a chance to have you on the air for some time, man. I'm glad to have you here this morning. And it couldn't be a better morning celebrating your release of your new book, That's Not Funny, How the Right Makes Comedy Work for Them, Professor Matt Sienkiewicz, and also your co-writer, Nick Marks. It is out and available today. Go check it out. Professor, we'll see you next time.
It's great to see you, Ben.
A pleasure is ours. I didn't know if I could do it, Rebecca, James.
Why y'all just not let me talk to Matt? I didn't like that. Like I wanted to,
I'm trying to make way for your conversation. Too.
He gone.
Yeah, no, but you got to interview in like 2 minutes.
I know. I wanted to at least say hi.
Was I too? I was too efficient, wasn't I? God damn.
It was. Not that you were too efficient. You and Matt was going because y'all had so much to say. You know what I'm saying? It's just but I wanted to just jump in there and say hi and then come out. Because Matt is my friend too. So I felt like I wanted to just go ahead and say hello to Matt. Congratulations.
Matt has been rocking with us since
you introduced me to Matt.
How many years is that?
Yeah, and it wasn't even just a digital meeting. Remember, after work, you introduced me to Matt, so that was great. Right. Yeah. And he's a cool person. I think he's a very cool person. I think I like his coolness, and then him being a professor, and just being able to have the ability to write things like this book that he wrote. What is it called? That's Not Funny. No time. Yeah. So it was
my bad.
I wanted to say hello.
I'm sure he's saying hello in one of the comment sections. And
all right. And congratulations to you on your new book. You see what happens after the pandemic? it's growth, baby. Out here, it's growth. You see, we writing books out here. You know what I'm saying? So so congratulations.
What was so funny in the chat? Can y'all? It must be something we can share on the air. I'm trying to do the interview, and I'm like.
So you said God don't even like Jesus don't even like you. So
Jesus don't even like Steven Crowder. No.
Future's latest album is called I Never Liked You. So it's like, I was like, not Future. And if you guys haven't, I love me some Future. And Future just hits out, like Dwayne was saying in the chat, Future's album dropped at the greatest time ever. For those of you who know that he is toxic, I don't approve of any of that stuff. At the same time, when I listen to Future, I'm looking for all things toxic because that's how he came out. And he also has a drip of a bit of love in there, and however he puts it, that's original Future. Like I was saying, original Pluto mixtape vibes, and a little bit of Dirty Sprite, which is his first mainstream album. And so, yes, I'm the one that's in my car pulling up with the Haitian flag, listening to Gold Stacks on repeat.
Yeah,
that's me.
Ben, you gotta listen to it. I was finding places to go this weekend just so I could ride around with my windows down. Like,
yeah,
I listened to the whole thing Friday. I listened to the whole album on Friday. Yeah,
you have to listen to it in the car though. That it's specifically
no, I was in the car, but
it's like doom doom. It's specifically made. He made it for the car. That's that old early 2000s Future when he was just doing mixtapes vibes. All the kids was like, "Oh, I don't like it." That's because y'all wasn't there. Y'all don't know what it was like to ride through FAMU streets.
I feel like I better not say anything bad about Future right now. Go ahead,
I love
about the album.
Made me miss my young 20s days when I was just riding around being a menace, like shaking the whole block with 315s and
you said being a menace
back of my Jeep. Yeah, I used to ride around just terrorizing people in the neighborhood. They would know when I was coming home.
Yeah, I did that this weekend. I did that this weekend specifically. I was pulling in. I made sure before I got to the beginning of my complex, and you guys know I live in a beautiful, clear folks area. And when I got to the front of my complex, I rewinded the song, and I made sure the beginning of, I think it was, 712 or whatever the first track is. You know, it starts off soft, and I waited till the beat dropped. I'm like, doom, doom. Yeah, what's up? And the way I cut the corners, and people were at the pool, and I sat in my car and let it play. I let it play, let them watch me. And then I got out, and then, I was real cute that night. And then I went to the city, and I did the same exact thing. I came back home missing one hubcap because it made me go so fast. I hit a pothole without, because in Atlanta, I came home with one missing hubcap.
Oh, you serious? Okay. I thought you were speaking rhetorically.
No, I'm dead serious. My hubcap is somewhere in the streets of Midtown, but I've already ordered another one. So praise God for Jesus. Yes, it made me go like 90 miles per hour.
Let me interrogate this question as a person who, I love hip hop from a lyrical level, and I will also say I love trap music from the club level. Is it fair for me to say that I like it as a club song, but I just like lyrically, I'm like, why does this even exist?
Because do you listen to 2 Chainz?
Nah, you gotta have that mix, Ben. You gotta have that mix. You gotta have
you have to have a balance
for the lyrical stuff like the J. Cole's and people like that. But then you got to bring out the ratchet side every now and then with like 2 Chainz and Future. Because 2 Chainz.
So if it's okay if I just like him, it's okay if I just like him. Like if it's something like if I actually for whatever reason I'm walking through a club and it drop and I feel that beat, I'm gonna bop to it, but I don't care about nothing they said because they.
2 Chainz is actually really brilliant. Actually, lyrically he's very brilliant. Sometimes he's gonna drop something that sounds crazy, but then when you go back, you'd be like, "Oh my God!" That man really like.
Well, I don't know about 2 Chainz, but
that was good. Future, on the other hand, Future be saying things. It's like, what the hell? But at the same time, what's up?
I just needed to make sure I wasn't wrong because I know I'm an old head.
Future is not lyrically.
I'm more into Earth, Wind, and Fire, but
Future is not lyrically the best. Okay. But anyways, we'll get to it.
But the music now, when I took my expectation for lyricism out and I just listened to the beats, I'm like, oh, it made me feel like I was back in
you gotta listen
Diamond
to the
down in
lyrics
Miami.
too, though. Sometimes, like Future said, you know what I'm saying? He said he don't want to bet no dice unless we bet in gold stacks or something like that. Here's the thing: you gotta really listen to the music. There's some that are verbally BS, but when you go into I'm that that was why I was
like seeing double.
when we go into I'm that just listen to the album. When you go into and you listen to it and you actually start feeling yourself and start understanding, even his love song is trash. He talks about him having love for his grandmother makes him have love for the woman. I'm like, you're toxic as hell. But at the same time, it's a vibe. It's a vibe.
I listen to it.
And shout out to whoever, what's his name is? Jacob Atlanta. Because now we know who you are. Now we know who Jacob Atlanta is. He done put on another young producer. All we hear is Jacob Atlanta or whatever he says in the song. Now we know who you are. So anyways.
Now the beats, now if we just examining like the beats and the way it bops in your system, then you can play that all night long. Just run it. So it was good from that perspective. I enjoyed the beats. So
yeah, it was really good. But we are shout out to Future. Shout out to Everything Ratchet because it's gonna be that this summer. However, this next story that we have up with our girl Anoa Changa, who is here, we definitely have to discuss. We definitely have to get into because they did that right while everybody was worried about, including myself, the outfits that weren't being at the Met Gala Awards. They just did this in the middle of nowhere. They voted to take away women's rights, of course, for abortion to eradicate Roe v. Wade. So, Anoa, how are you doing? I know it's been a lot. I know that you were hot just as everybody else on the internets and the streets. Let's talk about it. Your mic is on. Oh. Yeah, your mic is on mute.
Muted. Good morning. Yes, because I was texting the group chat at midnight, like, y'all, are we talking about this in the morning? Because I'm available.
Definitely. So, and just for background, so the Supreme Court has voted yesterday this came out that the Supreme Court has voted to strike down the landmark Roe v. Wade decision, according to an initial draft majority opinion, and this was written by Justice Samuel Alito, and this circulated inside the court, and it was obtained by Politico, who yesterday evening dropped this news. And the draft opinion is a full, it's unflinching of the 1973 decision, which guaranteed federal constitutional protections of abortion rights, as we know, and subsequent 1992 decision, Planned Parenthood versus Casey, and that largely maintained that right, that Roe was egregiously wrong from the start. That's what Alito said. And now, while we were all watching the Met Gala Awards or looking at the outfits that were all wrong all night, they done swept this out of nowhere, and Politico obtained it. And it's just something that, to me, future-wise, now lets us know that they don't care about women, they don't care about little girls, they don't care about us having the right to the decision to our bodies. It's so much that goes into this, but Anoa, let's talk about it. Let's unpack it.
I mean, let's be real, right? Like, conservatives in this country, Republicans in particular, have not cared about any of those things you just listed the last however many decades. Despite, overtures for return to the party of Lincoln, I don't actually even know that Lincoln would be on the right side of this necessarily. We've seen so many Republicans who are considered like the moderate or whatever the case may be, fall on the wrong side of things. But the one thing to first start off and clarify is that this is not like a final decision or ruling. So abortion is absolutely still legal right now. What it does, give a preview of is the possibility of, what the rationale and the way the things are coming down when the decision is actually released, most likely sometime next month or even in early July, right? But, abortion organizations, abortion funds, reproductive justice organizations, Black and brown folks in the South and around the country have been preparing and dealing with this for a very long time. Abortion access and the right protected by Roe has always been the floor, and it's not even been something that everyone in the country, even if you're in a quote unquote blue or safe state, has been able to really achieve. When we're reading through the language, what's really concerning, right, is not just the broad brushstroke with which Alito and others are possibly dismissing the right to abortion, but really digging into, the underpinning of the 14th Amendment, which provides for other rights, right? As well as their disdain for the idea of unalienable rights. There was some of this conversation around the 9th Amendment during, KBJ's confirmation hearing, entering Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson's confirmation hearing process. So they have been setting the stage, like they have been playing the long game for a very long time. News just broke a couple of days ago that actually, like, the next move is to move for a nationwide 6-week federal ban. So When folks talk about elections matter, it's a little bit more complicated than just, oh, you should have did X, Y, Z in 2016 and this would have never happened. I mean, folks should have did a lot of things in 2016, like not listening to baby Skynet, algorithm Ada to decide like how you were doing voter turnout and engagement and shirking responsibilities and turning out Black voters and other voters of color, right? But here we are now. It doesn't matter about relitigating 2016, who is right. You know, we're not going back to 2019 ridiculous ideas like sex strikes and things of that nature. Y'all are telling on yourself, or you need to stop having sex with people because of this decision. Like reevaluate your values, right? Mm-hmm. But really right now, like what I really want to talk about is how we need to be throwing down with abortion funds. We need to be throwing down with reproductive justice orgs. You have an entire coalition of Black and Brown led organizations that put out a reproductive justice. I think we might have actually talked about this around Roe earlier this year. The 49th anniversary of Roe was earlier this year. Reproductive justice orgs have put out a reproductive justice agenda and a national platform, and are really making demands on the White House and Congress to step up. Because when you're thinking about reproductive justice, right, it's not just about abortion access, which is crucial, but the right to choose whether to have a family or not, to whether to continue and expand your family or not, that's something that's personal and should be provided to everyone. But beyond that, when we're thinking about bodily autonomy, when we're thinking about healthcare, you know, many of the states that have abortion restrictions or bans on the books or actually in application also are doing very poorly in things like maternal health. Georgia ranks often number one in Black maternal mortality, and it's also at the bottom of the list when we're talking about maternal mortality, infant mortality generally. So are places like Mississippi, Alabama, several of the states that have been at the forefront of pushing forward these bans. We're also seeing pressure points on states that have had or independent clinics like the West Alabama Women's Health Center, I believe, in Tuscaloosa, which is an independent clinic run by Yellowhammer Fund, a Black-led abortion fund in Alabama. That has seen, because Planned Parenthood has not been providing certain services in Alabama and Georgia due to whatever their rational reasons. There was a piece from Jezebel that just came out about this. Despite that $200 million plus they just got, somehow they can't manage to, you know, fund and support abortions in certain parts of the country in the most dire need. So we do see independent clinics like the West Alabama Clinic in Tuscaloosa feeling the pressure and absorbing, you know, the additional support. So I'm really here to push for folks going directly to abortion funds. Right now, the National Network of Abortion Funds, if you go to their website, you can find the abortion fund that helps support folks in your state or in your region. And they are actually in the middle of what they call their fundathon. So it's this big time where people are coming together, organizing collectively, and doing this really amazing financial organizing. You know, we think about different types of organizing, but the money matters, folks, and putting the money in the hands of folks who need to get abortions, whether it's for travel, childcare, hotel. I mean, not all funds are the same, but they all do a lot of similar work. And many of these funds also do, you know, birth justice support, right? They support and help folks get access to doulas, because we know that it's not just about abortion access and care. It's about improving our access to healthcare, reproductive healthcare as a whole, right? And that bodily autonomy, that self-determination piece is certainly a part of that. And this isn't just about abortion, because they're going to come for birth control. They're going to come for same-sex marriage. Hell, they might try and come, you know, for...
So that's what I wanted to get into. That's what I wanted to get into as well. That
off grid, right? Like we really, it's so much at stake right now. And, you know, Democrats, folks can say, well, we need to expand the Senate. I agree with that, but you need to expand the Senate with folks who are going to commit to abolishing the filibuster. Because if Democrats had the conviction, right, of all 50 in the Senate right now, they would move the filibuster out the way, pass the Women's Health Act, and codify.
Yep. Did she free?
Did we lose her?
We lost her for a second.
I'm about to say it. Anoa from.
Okay,
that was a hell of a pregnant pause, but she was.
Yeah, I want her to come back because I wanted her to actually flesh out the conversation of exactly. It's not only abortions that this is attacking. Of course, we understand that when we hear Roe v. Wade or versus Wade, we have that Sorry, guys. It's not. I'm Ben. You just made.
Anyway, go ahead, Rebecca. Just go forth, Rebecca, and sin no more. My God, Rebecca.
I gotta say this. There's nothing funny about this story. I just have to put this in there. I want to apologize for laughing in the middle of that, what I was just saying. But Ben had got me together just now again on another word. He gonna text me. VS.
Rebecca, I said don't. I'm done. I can't. I
see
see.
the English teacher over there, Rebecca. You already know.
He done sent me. I said.
I teach grammar to my kids during homeschool, so you know.
I want to, like Victoria's Secrets, because they don't want us even in Victoria's.
Because when you say VS, listen, black folks, when you say VS, we think VSOP, right? So we didn't. I don't. Every time you said it, I'm thinking about Hennessy. Nah, I ain't thinking about it.
Anywho,
versus.
That's what it stands for. Versus. That's what I was saying it for. Ben is telling me to say it out, to say the word out. So, anywho, I will say, but when we think of that, we only think of abortion when we think of what's going on. But there's so much other things that they're going to come for when it comes to women's rights. They don't want us to have the access to our body. They will come for birth control. Birth control isn't only for people who want to, have, or not, it's not even only for unprotected sex. It's not for those reasons. It's like for people who want to regulate their periods, for people who get terrible cramping. It's so many different reasons why people get on that. And again, to prevent pregnancies. That's a great thing, for us to have that option to do with ourselves. But I don't understand why they would think they could come in like a thief in the night. Well, you know what? No, I do understand, because they do it all the time with a lot of things. You wake up and there's a policy that is affecting you. And this will have a great effect on who the most. A lot of people, everybody. Who the most?
Black women.
Thank you. Black women.
And it's coming through now that Biden is saying promises action after leaked Supreme Court decision that could overrule Roe versus Wade.
See, the thing is, I don't want to hear him say that. Yeah, it's a very broad, promising action. What does that look like? What is that? Because
the specific action is overturning the filibuster and packing the courts. If they're not going to do what it needs to take, I don't want to hear a headline saying they're going to take action. No, I don't want emails. I don't want tweets. We need action.
Yeah,
whatever.
And that's what exactly what Anoa was saying. She's like, let's start taking action by, partnering with these different abortion companies or people who are advocating for. Let's start adding to their funding. But these people on the left, low key, are looking at it just as many of the people who have conservative views or who are conservative. So they're going to rock with this in the background and be like, well, we're saving the babies.
Oh, not just on the left. Black folks. There's going to be a lot of black folks who are going to say the same thing. Like,
but black folks is on the left. They ride that wave too. Like, it's like they're going to ride with some conservative views. Like I said, I even come from a conservative view when it comes to that. But I've also benefited from, for me and my decision, from being able to go and have an abortion procedure. So you see what I'm saying? Like, I want women to always have the right to choose. Because I don't want the government to have our bodies and tell us what we can do with our bodies. There is no laws that's actually preventing men from out here impregnating women. Let's put some laws on penises.
Free vasectomies for all men. Free vasectomies for all men on the face of the planet. And you get it reversed. You get it reversed when you and your consensual partner have agreed that y'all want to have a baby. That way we ain't got to worry about abortions. Problem solved. But they won't do that. You know why? Because it's really about controlling. They want to force birth. They want to control. I mean, I'm not saying this to you, Rebecca. You know this. They want to control women's bodies. And most of all, they want to control the sexuality of women. They want to control
That's another thing that goes with it. That's another thing that goes in with it. Now, this is going to affect a lot of these leaders, too, who got side chicks and who don't like to use protection. Okay? It's going to affect you in your house. Okay? So now you're going to have these little babies out here, these children out here and things like that. And I'm not saying that, like I said, for the people who are saying that they don't support abortion, and for those who say that they do support abortion, you should be able to choose. That's all I'm saying. That's right, and for all of them that are saying it's a religious situation, again, you should be able to choose.
Don't get an abortion.
That is not your business. I don't care what gods you serve or whatever you got going on. the government isn't trying to help.
There's a couple leaders in this country that should have been aborted.
Ben, I don't know, but I can't go with that. I can't say that. You took it.
That's so goddamn rude.
I can't.
I mean,
would the world not be a better place? Let's call a spade a spade.
I can't really.
The world would be a better place without some of these
like,
Neanderthals.
You probably shouldn't have been, never mind. You know what? Just never mind.
Beloved, I can't. I'm not here with you or you. I'm over
somebody
here.
Somebody got to remain sanctified.
A couple of leaders that should have been aborted. Oh my God. Ben,
when did it like? It was like, oh,
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Oh my God.
She looked like a failed abortion.
I don't like her either. But
damn, Ben.
Yeah,
see, I got jokes, y'all, but I always was afraid of getting canceled. I don't care about that shit no more.
No, yeah, you really don't, because you said other things on past shows in the last month. But there's a recent video that's circulating on the Tik and Talk, and it's about a girl. She's like, I was pregnant. I went and got an abortion, and then that seemed to have failed. So I went and got the procedure, actually, like a great procedure done, like the second part. And she said after she got sick, next thing you know, a baby came out of her. That baby fought 2 abortions. Oh, no, excuse me. It was the Plan B, then the abortion, because the baby didn't take the Plan B. So then went, the baby didn't take to the Plan B. Then she went and got an abortion.
Is this a true story?
This is a factual story. And then the baby came out. That baby said,
that baby said they gonna be born.
And came
that baby
out
say, damn all this stuff that you trying to do. I'm coming out, goddamn it.
What's up?
Rebecca, that baby say, hey, what's up? What's that?
Hey, we need to check. Hey, that baby might be something special around here.
That baby might be the second coming.
The baby was beautiful. But here's the thing. No. That woman had the right to choose, and Mother Nature or universe or whatever did this thing, but still had the right to choose. Okay? Listen, let folks choose, and then let the world and God or Jesus, Buddha, or whoever you serve do the rest. It's none of your business. The government should not have any say-so on women's.
See, that's what you're saying, Rebecca. What you are saying is a conservative position that the government should not have any right to tell an individual what to do with their body, their autonomy, right? That is literally a conservative position, but Republicans have gone so far with eating their own ideology that, forget about right to your own body. They're trying to force you to have babies now. Mm-hmm. So if people want to they're trying to force you to not have sex. They're trying to force you to not be able to marry who you want to marry. So when people talk about how far Republicans come, I need folks to understand that what Rebecca is saying, having liberty, they're saying liberty every day. They literally don't mean it. They mean liberty for them to do what they want, and complete domination of government control over your body is what conservatives are trying to get.
Yeah. No, that's exactly. And if listen to what you're saying now, none of it makes sense. They don't want you to have sex, but they want you to go ahead and have these babies, right? They don't want you to. None of it makes sense. But they want you to be free. They want you to be liberated. They want you to have. They want us to keep saying that this country and what we stand for is the freedom to choose, the freedom to speak, the freedom to do all that. But it's an asterisk near it, and it's like, with conditions. Those conditions are whatever we want, how we can control it. That's the only way that we can move forward. And women, women shouldn't have any rights here. They shouldn't have any rights. And the black women especially, we're going to definitely make you have those kids. And you're not going to be able to put them in housing. And then we're going to put them in programs like foster care, and which
the
are
worst schools in the country.
Worst kinds of care for children. So it's like this whole domino effect. And then they're going to start blaming us, and they're going to say, oh, black people are having all these kids. Immigrants are coming here and having all these kids. They're going to have these kind of conversations. This is what it leads into. And this is where it becomes very, very problematic. So it is not only just the abortion, though. It is the way that they want to control our bodies and what we do. And it make us feel smaller. And on top of us already, and I mean us, I'm talking about black women, on top of black women already having to struggle, already having to figure out things at as Black women maneuvering in all of these spaces. We are controlled. We are talked down to. They want to take everything from us. And in this position, in this particular thing, if it does come to pass, the fact that it's even on the radar, the fact that there is drawn up paperwork for the conversation with an exclamation point, that they want this over in that document, with the fact that it's already out there, this will potentially, most likely, affect Black people beyond just measure, Black women beyond measure. And I just want people to know, like, this is not right. The government shouldn't have any control over anything that we do when it comes to taking care of our bodies and how we see fit as women in America.
Rebecca, can I jump? And if y'all need to go a specific direction, I don't know if Anoa's back, but I want to mention that today is election day in the 11th district of Ohio. That's Nina Turner's race. It's today Tuesday, right? Today's Tuesday. So we want to encourage everyone who's in that district, do what you do. Go out and vote and do your thing. This is a very important primary, but I definitely want to just throw a love to Nina Turner, who has been fighting diligently. And thanks to the folks in the chat room reminding us that today is that day.
And also, this month is Mental Health Awareness Month. So I would definitely like to have some guests on for the month of May who are going to chat about mental health awareness. So the woman that you had on prior to, I'm sorry, Ben, your colleague, I hate that I forgot her name, but let's discuss mental health awareness for the month of May. Not only is it Mental Health Awareness Month, it also is Haitian Heritage Month. So be prepared to be sick of me. I might be just speaking in Creole all of a sudden.
It's a lot of stuff going on in May, because y'all know what else is in May? Masturbation month is May.
No, it's not. You don't. Yes, don't tell me that. That is not even a real thing. That's not a real thing. I'm not accepting that. I'm definitely not Googling it to find out if it's true. So I'm just it's gonna not exist in my mind.
Cinco de Mayo is Thursday as well too. So yes, May has a lot of stuff going on.
But yes, my birthday is the most important after Haitian Heritage. So
Mother's Day.
My birthday. So happy birthday to me. Make sure, you know what I'm saying, y'all know what's up. I'm turning 32. Just if you don't follow me now, you better follow me on the social medias to see what 32 is going to look like, because it's going to be really cute. Anywho, we're at the end of the show.
I know you got a hard out.
I got to be in the streets. You guys are kids. You guys are children. You guys are children. It is Tuesday, and you guys are children. You guys are children this morning. Love you guys so much. Mean it. We're at the end of the show. I hope that Noah can come back tomorrow.
I wish you would have dropped that video, Ben, that you tagged me in on Instagram, because that would have just been it.
Oh my God, Charles Barkley. Oh my goodness. And what's funny is, hey, Charles Barkley talk about when you got a man banging into you, and he was as oblivious to his double entendre as I always am.
But you know who caught it though. You know who was laughing.
You know, we'll play that clip up there. Kikiing.
But hopefully we can get Anoa back tomorrow to develop the story a little bit more when it comes to the Roe versus Wade decision. But yeah, hopefully we can get her back tomorrow. Her power went out. Love her. Mina, thanks for coming on to the show. Thanks, Matt Sienkiewicz, for coming on and dropping his book. What was it? You weren't funny. You ain't that funny.
That's not funny.
That funny. That's not funny. That's not funny. Go listen to Future's album, I Never Liked You. It's Taco Tuesday. Love you guys. Mean it.
And Jesus never liked Steven Crowder either.
Taco Toxic Tuesday. Y'all listen to Future while eating y'all tacos.
Hey, y'all. That's what that is. Love y'all. See you.
When I was down,
all of y'all going to him. All right, y'all. We love y'all. Mean it. Y'all have an awesome Taco Tuesday, man. And thank you again for tuning in to the Benjamin Morning Show, man. Shout out to all our guests that we have, and shout out to all of our hosts as well, too. And shout out to everybody behind the scenes: Dwayne, Tiger, Josh, David Ass, who's on vacation. Everybody, we love y'all. Mean it. Hey, we will see y'all tomorrow. Your affirmation for this Taco Tuesday is: I allow my wisdom to guide me to the best choices. I allow my wisdom to guide me to the best choices. Y'all gonna be great, man. We will see y'all mañana. That's tomorrow, right, Dwayne? Deuces. Love y'all.